Hello there, and welcome to the Fast Farming Community's guide to Drizzlewood Coast. Drizzlewood Coast is one of the most expansive meta maps in the game, as you may have noticed from the duration of this video. While running it is simple in principle, there are a lot of small tips and tricks that can help make this map profitable and much faster than other players would have you think. As a matter of fact, at the moment of making this video, it is the highest ranking farm in our list. In this guide, I'll be acquainting you with all of the map's unique features and the way our community approaches running it. Before I begin delving into the map's details, a small disclaimer. This guide presents our community's way of running the map. Our primary goals are efficiency, constant movement, and profit. Our runs also come with the expectation of a significant part of the squad having proper builds, meeting all requirements, and following commanders at all times, unless otherwise instructed. This is why you will have different results if you compare LFG runs to our own. Speaking of requirements, I'll just leave them here on the screen for a few seconds. Feel free to pause the video to see if you meet all of them. Drizzlewood Coast can be run by doing a full map cycle or repeating the south meta twice, both with very similar profit results. We tend to opt for full runs due to variety. When running the south portion of the map, we utilize two commanders running each side with their own squad to seize as many bases as possible for additional containers from map tick rewards. Speed and quick reactions to the events we're given are vital to getting the most out of this part. Decisions are often changed in seconds depending on new events spawning, so you'll have to pay more attention than usual to keep up. The northern portion is much more relaxed in pacing, as there's really just one order of events and no way around it. All you have to do is what the meta window says, with some additional tricks explained in the later part of this guide. This map leaves several tools at your disposal that can be utilized to a great advantage. The first of these is the United Legion's Waystation. The first thing to mention about it is paradropping. Once you have obtained the electromagical pulse mastery, you can click on the blue icon of any allied outpost on the map and an NPC will open a dialogue window with you with an offer to transport you to the chosen outpost and suspend you in the air above it. The mobility this provides in combination with a griffin is immense. Note that if enemy territory is currently under attack by the United Legions, you can click on its icon and paradrop above it even if it is still under enemy control. The United Legion's Waystation offers several abilities that will be mandatory for efficient runs of the map. The Electromagical Pulse special action ability that you get from it is a very powerful CC tool which helps us melt Defiance bars in no time. As a nice bonus, when you acquire the 2.0 version, which you should, it also provides you with a brief burst of quickness. Situations in which we want to use this skill are plenty. Aside from the fact that bosses are a very frequent appearance on this map and their CC bars need breaking, it also hits 10 targets with low damage but several debilitating conditions, so it's very useful for tagging. This skill will be in your special action slot for most of the run. Another ability the Waystation offers is the remote charge skill. We will be using these to instantly destroy gates and quickly take out enemy structures within enemy outposts. Commanders have portable versions of Waystations on them and they will likely be called out for you when you need to equip either the EMP or remote charges. People tend to underestimate the effectiveness of remote charges when conquering outposts, but they are absolutely vital in taking out turrets, barricades and tents quickly. Make sure to throw and detonate them on any piece of enemy defenses still standing. When used by even just a third of the squad, all structures in your way will crumble immediately. Remote charge renders any siege weapons absolutely useless. Siege weapons require you to spend hundreds of war supply to stock up on them, need to be thrown from your inventory onto the field, then need to be manned and render you stationary with several seconds of cooldown between uses of their siege skills, which actually deal less damage than remote charges do. Meanwhile, remote charges cost a whole 10 war supplies per 8 users on max mastery and require only that you throw them as you move, all the while dealing more damage than any siege weapon. Another feature that's not as important but has its uses is the Medizuka. The healing provided by Medi-Missile is actually fairly significant without any healing stats to support it. While healing is generally quite unnecessary in open world, this ability comes in handy when face tanking things in favor of DPS, such as champions with the Polluter instability or the Claw of Jormag's Icy Grey fields as part of some strategies mentioned later. The Rally Missile can be convenient at best, but not particularly useful. The Might Missile, however, is quite useful, as it provides quickness to your allies, which is a massive boon to DPS. If you're playing a build with concentration stats, but your class doesn't have any quickness output normally, such as an Alacrigate for example, it would be particularly useful to quickly launch yourself with the Medizuka, fire a Might Missile on the squad, and drop back to your regular rotation. However, if you are already, let's say, a Condi Quickband or another class that provides quickness on its own, you'll have far superior means of maintaining the boon on your group, so you don't have to bother. That sums up the Waystation, but we must touch on another more powerful mechanic. So powerful, in fact, that you will have to refrain from using it at times, and this mechanic is Essence Manipulation. This mastery line grants you a special action skill against opponents with Essence buffs when they drop to 75% health, if you have collected 30 orbs from the faction that counters them. Much like EMPs, they are very desirable on outpost capture champions, Centurion champions, the champtrain, and so on, but do not ever use them on regular mobs or regular champion spawns. As much as EMP is broken in AoE CC, Essence Manipulation is 2 times as broken on single targets in both CC and damage. If you are running a power build and have even some semblance of might or profession modifiers on you, this thing will obliterate anything in between you and your target and then some distance behind them with a near 100,000 damage burst, and is more than capable of hitting for even higher numbers with proper boons. If you use this on normal mobs, you are absolutely destroying loot for everyone in the squad except yourself. Reserve this skill for situations with static, tanky champions and bosses, and never use it outside of them. Now that we covered the map-related unique abilities, we can move on to the map itself, beginning with the south meta. The southern part of the map revolves around capturing territory and maintaining morale. The basic pattern here consists of escorting NPCs to an outpost, capturing it, boosting morale in it by doing events in the area until the bar is full, then repeating the cycle on the next outpost. A small digression with regard to escorts. NPC boosting is immensely helpful in this map, as Malice and Ephraim, the NPCs you'll be escorting all the time, respond very well to it. While regular Superspeed boosting already works wonders on their escort speed, there are special circumstances where you can propel them to their next enemy spawns at the speed of light. When you engage an enemy spawn, the NPCs will unsheath their weapons and take a sharp turn towards the closest enemy. Watch at which point exactly they did this. They will return to this location once the enemies are dead and continue their escort paths from here. If you give them super speed right before they return to this location, they will gain immense movement speed and zoom along the path for as long as the super speed lasts. You can see how this may be helpful for moving things along a bit more quickly. Back to the main mechanics. Morale is only truly relevant for outposts that are bordering enemy territory. It's not as bad if one of our backline outposts has a dwindling morale bar. Low morale in a backline outpost doesn't impact the progress of the meta directly, but it does make them more likely to be attacked. And an outpost under attack means that the Wolf's Crossing meta cannot begin if the United Legion's readiness bar is full. Additionally, an outpost under attack isn't as cataclysmic as the map announcements make it sound. They are fairly durable and you don't have to rush to their aid immediately, but you do have to be wary if there is an additional event overlapping with the defense, as the mobs from this event essentially act as reinforcements for the main Dominion assault and will destroy the base's defenses much more quickly. Usually, it's enough if you port to the defending base when the map notifies you that they need backup. You can then stick around for about 1 minute until you raise the Allied forces' strength bar to near completion. After that point, it's safe to leave the base to its own defense for the remainder of the event 90% of the time. The remaining 10% goes to the absolute strategic failure that is Petrarch Overlook. For some reason, probably the vast amount of structures and the base's size itself, Petrarch gets absolutely destroyed during defense events. I am not kidding when I say that if you don't intervene in under a minute, you will lose the base. You can't afford to delay a tiny bit if Petrarch is under attack, but the Eastern commander should make their way there as soon as possible, or at least send a couple of players to stall the event. When it comes to event priority, outpost escorts and captures have the highest priority out of any event on the map. The sheer amount of mobs spawned within the bases you're sieging is ludicrous, on top of the fact that each base that's conquered means an additional container on the next map tick. When Malice and Ephraim aren't pushing toward a base, what you need to constantly look out for are supply bulls heading towards bordering outposts. The morale boost these provide is significant, they have decent spawns with champ scaling, and most last for quite a short time. Bulls heading to backline bases aren't as important, but their successful arrival is a prerequisite for that base to send out supplies to the next one, which could be a bordering outpost. Therefore, while we won't be leaving an event at a border outpost to do backline bulls, we will catch any opportunity we can to do them and enable the border outpost bull to spawn. When it comes to other events in border bases, we do whatever we are given, even if it is a lootless event such as bombers, recon specialists, mines, and so on. We will be making a couple of detours for worthwhile events in backline bases when you have downtime in the border outposts. The best of these are the champion centurions ransacking your outposts. They're killed very quickly, give a champ bag, and maintain morale nicely, thereby lowering the risk of a Dominion attack. Another event that's pretty worthwhile is the cannons event, but it requires tight squad control. It has large spawns as the cannon drops in HP. When you clear a mob wave, another will follow in about 5 seconds. The cannons are exceedingly squishy, however, so we must make sure that they aren't focused, or preferably that they're only hurt by collateral cleave damage. Additionally, all mobs will despawn upon the destruction of the last cannon, so we have to be careful. An event that is quite long but scales well is the artillery event in Fort Defiance and Port Cascadia. It spawns a decent amount of mobs and champions, however, due to reasons we aren't quite sure of yet, these sometimes do and sometimes don't drop champion bags. If you get it when assaults for Lighthouse and Leadfoot have already been done, however, you probably have better things to do because it takes quite a while. Mortar events are of moderate priority. The mortar event doesn't scale to champions, but still has a decent amount of regular spawns around each mortar. Definitely worth tagging, although mortars might prove challenging as they are very easy to destroy and people outside the squad tend to solo this event very quickly after it spawns. A somewhat unique event are the skirmishes. This is the only event on the map that you will spread out for, as the scaling remains the same so long as there are people anywhere in the massive event circle, and grouping up deprives a large part of the squad of tags as the mobs are squishy. Just roam around and kill anything in sight to wrap it up as soon as possible, as this one is important for morale and very deadly if combined with a defense event, which can easily happen. Make sure to scout yourself and don't wait for the swords to appear on the minimap, because not all mob groups get the icon. The Wolves Crossing meta is quite straightforward. Refresh EMPs when you lose them and make sure to have one squad focus on Vishan parallel to Renoa. When you DPS one of them to 66 or 33%, they leave and don't come back until you DPS down the boss that stayed behind as well. You can click on Vishan's health bar in the meta window in the upper right corner to identify which one is real. If nothing is selected when you click it, it means you're too far from the actual target, so she's probably on one of the two cliffs you aren't close to. Make sure to melt the champtrain enemies' CC and HP bars with the combination of EMP and essence manipulation. Make sure your DPS is on point for the meta and champtrain. The quicker we dispose of the champions, the quicker we can switch maps for another south run, or we're left with more time to chest farm with our Charfield homing beacons before the north meta if we're doing a full map cycle. A decent champ run will usually leave us with about 6 minutes and 40 seconds to spare for chests before the northern assault begins. When allied forces move beyond Wolves Crossing, you'll be presented with 4 zones to capture. Immediately beyond the bridge, you will kill the Iron Legion Tribune and capture Dominion's Breach by doing so. For the remaining 3 zones, you have to complete 3 events to draw out another Legion Tribune in each zone. The squad will scatter over all 4 zones at once. Splitting results in a vast improvement in run duration and profit made. The Tribune chests stay for a while, so you can loot them as they die, and still get to roll for a chance on the highest value item in this period, that being gifts from Otter. After the Tribunes are dead, there's 2 or 3 minutes of downtime until the next set of events, which you can use to hunt some supply drops with your Charfield homing beacons. The next set of events involves building cannons and defending them as they break down the Citadel gate. It's important to maintain an even split between the 3 landing zones. Also, make sure to take hammers from the toolboxes and build cannons with the first kill when their construction begins. Other than this, just kill stuff. Once we've destroyed the ice elemental after the cannon events, we rush to the gate and wait for the NPCs to arrive and start the Frost Citadel assault. We use this time to pre-stack a bunch of remote charges on the gate, which we can blow up to instantly destroy it as soon as it becomes vulnerable. As soon as the gate is down, replace your remote charge with EMPs, as you will need it to tag the plethora of mobs within the Citadel and, more importantly, to take down phalanx walls. The Frost Legion phalanx are, as the name suggests, a seemingly impassable line of shield-wielding soldiers that take no damage and push you back upon contact. As soon as the defiance bar of any of the phalanx members breaks, their formation falls apart and you're free to move by them as normal. The commander will target one of the phalanx soldiers and you'll unload all your CC on that soldier to eliminate their defiance as quickly as possible. Be wary of the ice giants shooting deadly frost fields underneath the squad, because following this up with an elbow drop can instantly down you or full kill you if you already are downed. The first phalanx wall after the gate must be CC'd in order to move past them. However, the remaining two that you will encounter in the Citadel can be walked or jumped around. The second phalanx guard a bunch of snipers in the left corner of the room you enter after crashing the gate. You can simply go to their left and jump over the small bit of ice to get behind them, and dispose both of them and the snipers. The phalanx will take damage as normal regardless of defiance bar status if you are flanking them. If you're ahead of the squad, you can use a Mesmer portal or the White Mantle portal device to get your squad around the phalanx quicker. You'll be the sole focus of the snipers if you do this, however, so get under their pedestal quickly to avoid dying. Alternatively, you can jump past both this and the last phalanx wall simply by using the Medizuka to launch yourself in the air above them. The next room contains the Ruinbringer. You need to take its shield generators off. The only effective way to do this is using the char cars found in the northwest corner of the room. When in a char car, spam your 1 and 5 skills on the shield generators to destroy them quickly. Make sure to disable the tank's damage mitigation with harpoons when it uses it. Players are affected by boons even when in char cars. Providing quickness, might and alacrity will speed things up significantly. There is a very convenient trick in this fight that lets the squad have many more char cars than available and finish the Ruinbringer much sooner. Upon reaching a char car, open the dialogue window that offers you to drive it, but do not enter. Wait for about 10 seconds and wait for other players to come to the same car and open their dialogue window as well. So long as you have a dialogue window for the car open, you can enter it and use one whenever you click the first option. Even if someone clicked the option already and took the car, you will spawn as a new one and can fight in it. This will give the squad much more damage for the plating than usual, letting you phase the tank more quickly. When both the left and right platings have been taken down, leave the car and attack the tank's tire with your normal skills. You do much more damage this way. The next room is the conversion chamber. You need to destroy 5 blood collectors, fight an Icebrood construct and kill the frost conversion shaman to proceed. There's nothing special to do here, just make sure to split the squad evenly between the collectors so the entire squad doesn't have to travel miles between each one to kill them consecutively. The collector to the right of the ramp is untargetable, so make sure not to forget about it. After the conversion chamber, proceed down the hallway to the claw fight. The third phalanx will be found just before you bust down the gate to Claw's Roost. You can climb the ice wall and the pipe to the left to get behind them, or simply use the Medizuka to fly over, kill one phalanx to make the gate vulnerable, then destroy it with remote charges. There are a few useful tricks to know for the claw fight. When the cannons have shot it once and we fight the Centurions, make sure to stack on the Blade Master in the center, while individual squad members pull both the Shaman and the Crusher over to it. Once they've arrived, we move to stack on the Shaman, as it's the only ranged unit out of the 3, so all of them come to the squad and you can cleave them all for quickest progression. You want 5 to 6 squad members to depart ahead of the squad down to the area where we will fight the claw, ready with EMPs. This is because the scaling of the claw fight down there is unaffected by the amount of players high up on the platform above, where we just fought the Centurions. We use this to our advantage by having the small amount of players below deplete the claw CC bar almost fully as soon as it lands, and then we jump down to reap our rewards in the free DPS window we've been given. When fighting the claw while it's not stunned, you want to stack in the middle between its claws and in front of its chest. This way, you cleave all 3 of the available hitboxes with your AoE attacks, resulting in damage that's much higher than usual. Survivability is of little concern because you have enough endurance to dodge each claw slam it does. As the telegraph is very obvious, this isn't an issue. The Claw of Jormag has no essence buff, and thus cannot be targeted by essence manipulation. However, if a nearby Frost Legion mob drops to 75%, you will be able to use the special action key against them. In this case, quickly switch to the suitable target and use the special action key while having 1 or more of the Claw's hitboxes between you, which will hit the Claw for half the damage you did to your target, which is still quite an amount. The last useful thing to know is that you can completely negate the pushback from its breath attack by moving into its hitbox under the chest before it uses it. This does mean standing in the icy grade damage zone, but it can be out-healed easily for the duration you need to stay in it, and is a lot more worth it than running back miles from where the claw would normally push you to. This is also made much more bearable by any player spamming 1 on the Medizuka. Don't conflate the pushback attack with the fear attack, as the animations are fairly similar. When doing the fear attack, the claw will strain to rear its head upwards and do a screech, while it will move both its claws back, raise its head upward to inhale, and then scream for the pushback attack. This later one is the one for which you want to hide under its chest. After the claw is dead, we loot the chests and the run is finished. Thank you very much for taking your time to sit through our guide and familiarize yourself with the many details of Drizzlewood Coast. Note that the knowledge you now have is a big part of what helps set our runs apart from the rest, and it's what keeps all that gold flowing to your wallet. For more guides and information about earning gold and efficiency in the open world, check our website in the description. We hope to see you in the next farm train.